What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian from House of Rasslin. This is my review for the August 3rd episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you're notified when the House of Rasslin drops any content. And follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Tonight's AEW Dynamite, I enjoyed this show. There was a lot of elements I liked about this. There was a few I was just like, but for the most part, man, ever since we were informed that Triple H was going to take over all of creative for WWE, it just seems like every wrestling company has stepped up their game. And this past week with the announcement or report that Sasha Banks and Naomi are reportedly headed back to the WWE. We saw Dakota Kai, Bayley, and Io Shirai or Io Sky make their main roster appearance at SummerSlam. Bayley with the exception. And AEW had some great stuff going on last week. I'm liking it. I'm loving it. If this is what we are in store for in the future, in the fall, winter, going into next year's WrestleMania, man, us wrestling fans, we are going to have some good, fun wrestling, man. This is going to be really fun, and I'm looking forward to it. Just to break down the results before I go into the things that I liked and what stood out for me in AEW Dynamite. The first match, we had Jay Lethal defeating Orange Cassidy. The second match, we had a women's match. We had Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter defeat Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. We had, after that, you had Powerhouse Hobbs defeat Ren Jones, which was a squash match. Then we had Christian Cage defeat Matt Hardy. And the match after that, we had the dumpster match. The Acclaimed defeated the Gun Club, and then in the main event, you had Chris Jericho defeat Wheeler Yuta. That was the results for this week's AEW Dynamite. The first match, Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal. It was a hot crowd, which, if you watch AEW Dynamite every week, you are accustomed to a hot crowd to start off because they don't know what's going to happen. What's the first match? They just know we're going to get a really solid wrestling match. This match, Orange Cassidy, yes. Jay Lethal, man, there's just something about him in the ring. And it goes back to when he was in ROH as well. Maybe it's just me. I like Jay Lethal when he was Black Machismo in TNA. And it seems like ever since he stopped doing that, for me, there's nothing. For me, it's nothing appealing about him. He's a great wrestler and everything, but for me, he's too serious. Where it's like, yeah, it's all right, but I really can't get into it. So, but no, this was a pretty solid match. Orange Cassidy did his thing. Man, ever since Orange Cassidy's match with Will Ospreay at the Forbidden Door, Orange Cassidy has had some solid matches as of late, and it's getting better. It's like he went to another level, and it's fun. So you had a hot crowd. Then there was a point in the match where Sandom Singh was headed towards the ring, and then you have the best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, come out like the freaking Little Rascals from the 1994 movie when they went to the bank and they were on each other's shoulders with the trench coat and the beard. Freaking Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor did that. They go head to head with Sandom Singh and they start wanting to fight, and then after a while, no, and they start going back, and then Sandom Singh goes back. In the end, Jay Lethal wound up doing the lethal injection for the pin, 1, 2, 3. He defeated Orange Cassidy. After the match, Sanjay Dutt grabs the mic, and he's basically calling out Wardlow, like, hey, you said you were going to, destroy Jay Lethal. Where are you at? You're nowhere to be found. And he's like, hey, if you don't come out here, we're going to destroy your buddy Orange Cassidy. Let's go. Then the best friends come out, and then the music hits. Wardlow comes out. He chases them all out the ring, grabs the mic. Welcome to Wardlow's world. We'll see when that match happens. Maybe on Rampage, we might get more information as far as if it's added to Battle of the Belts this Saturday. Pretty cool spot. I mean, when was the last time we seen Wardlow wrestle? Like, that's only my gripe. Like, I want to see Wardlow more. Like, come on, like, put him out. Like, we want to see him more. So you had that. Then you had a recap of Hook winning his first FTW title. And this is one little thing that I liked about AEW Dynamite tonight was the mention of things that happened last week. Like, hey, if you didn't see this, this is what happened last week. Basically what they were doing with this, and I enjoyed it because it was to the point. They didn't try this long video package. Boom, no, to the point. This is what happened. Boom. After that, you have the Elite coming out. You have Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and the Young Bucks come out to a huge ovation. Everyone's like, yes, it's good to see you guys back. Especially Adam Cole. It's like, oh, man, we missed this guy in the ring. Get well soon. Like, get well quickly. So he grabs the mic. He's like, it feels good to be in the ring, but I'm not cleared to wrestle yet. He mentions, there's loyalty is power, success, and everything. Then he starts going into the trios tournament. So as he's saying that, you see the Young Bucks on one side, and you see Red Dragon on the other side. And he looks at the Young Bucks, and he's like, there's... actually, no. The Young Bucks were in the middle. Kyle was on one side, and Bobby Fish was on the other side. So he looks at the Young Bucks, and he's like, hey, Kyle's not clear to wrestle, and I know, like, you're not going to be able to do it with Bobby Fish, so you guys can't be in the trios tournament. And you see the Young Bucks like, what? And then, out of nowhere, and unexpectedly, the freaking Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish attack the Young Bucks. They get to the point where they put the chair around Matt Jackson's neck. Adam Cole's on top rope. Music hits. Hangman Page comes in to save the Young Bucks from a chair attack. And he lifts Matt Jackson up, shakes hands, he leaves. So, the Young Bucks and Hangman Page are coming back together. We don't know when Kenny Omega's coming back. When I seen that, first thing that went to my mind, I'm like, man, okay, is Roderick Strong going to stay in NXT now that Triple H is there, or is he going to wait out his contract or what have you and go to AEW and we get the Undisputed Era and the Elite? Like, ooh, are we going to get that for Blood and Guts? I hope so. But it all depends on Roderick Strong's contract. I believe it's in another year, 2 years or something like that. So we'll see. Then we get a backstage segment with Jon Moxley, which I enjoyed this promo. He starts talking about how he doesn't care. When the bell rings, he has no respect for his opponents. He then goes, directs his comments towards Chris Jericho, tells Chris Jericho, I'm going to make the Heart Dungeon look like a daycare. Ooh, that is a very good line. If you're not familiar with the Heart Dungeon, of course, that was where Stu Hart trained a lot of wrestlers and his children, his sons, in the ring. I know Natalya trained there. Like, a lot of wrestlers went there. So go back and check it out. But, man, that was a good line. And then in the end of this promo, he says, this is not a game, which I'm like, ooh, this is good. Then we get a video of earlier tonight before Rampage, and Tony Schiavone's runs into Christian Cage. Before Christian Cage can say anything, Jungle Boy tries to run him over with his car. Jungle Boy gets out the car. The security grabs him, say, hey, you can't be here. I like this. I like that they do these earlier tonight videos. For me, I like it because it's like, ooh, okay, it adds a little bit more to why they have even more aggression or what have you leading into what's going to take place tonight. And it's like, ooh, okay, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? It's like, ooh, okay, I like it. It's the little things like that. It's like, all right, that's cool. Then we go to the second match. And for those of you who have watched my AEW Dynamite reviews, I have been saying for weeks, and literally looking back on it, it was probably months. AEW needs to take the women's match right before the main event and put it earlier in the show. And need to mix it up. Like, it's too predictable and the crowd doesn't get into it. It's just, you're doing a disservice and an injustice to the women that are wrestling. Tonight, I don't know who thought of it. Tony Khan, QT Marshall, Pat Buck, whoever it was. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was the right call, and the reason why I can say it was the right call because this crowd was hot for this match when it started. There was, a crowd. Was it the Thunder Rosa DMD chants throughout the match, which I loved. But man, it started off with Thunder Rosa. They come to the ring and she has this sandbagging T-shirt, which I'm like, and it's somewhat of a wink, wink. I know you guys what you guys are talking about and trying to insinuate with me and the women's wrestlers. Like, no, whatever. I thought that was a cool like wink, wink. I know what you guys are talking about. But man, this was an aggressive match. Man, these women, they did their thing in this match, man. A lot of forearm shots. Like, they were very physical. Man, just, they laid it in. Like, they were physical and aggressive. Then there was a point in the match where Britt Baker did her, Oxtor, whatever that move is, from the top rope where she has the head and bounces. She did that from the top rope on Toni Storm, which I was like, ooh. Toni Storm sold it because I was just like, man, I hope she's okay. I hope there's nothing wrong with her neck or anything like that. Then another point in the match, she wound up doing the curb stomp. She attempted to pin. Was it her? No, it was when she did that. Jamie Hayter attempted to make the pinfall, and Thunder Rosa delivered one of the strongest drop kicks I've seen to a person, a wrestler, to the point that it looked like Jamie Hayter, like her neck, like whiplash. It was like, whoa, ooh, that does not feel good, ooh. But man, that was a dope spot. At that point, you had the crowd chanting, "This is awesome" chants. That's why I said this was the right call to put this women's match in the second match. Loved it. If this is where the beginning of, hey, let's get this women's division back on track, but not back on track. Let's get this women's division where it needs to be in AEW, where it's just as good as, and it's booked just as well as the men's division, where it doesn't feel and it comes across where it's just, well, we're putting them on just to put them on. Like, no, they got some stuff. They're telling some great stories as well as the men. So there was another point in the match where Toni Storm was doing the hip attack. Like, it's like the more she did it, the more like it's just like, ooh, like the head, like, oh man. And then there was a point where Britt Baker was on the outside. She moved and put Thunder Rosa there. Toni Storm hit the hip attack on Thunder Rosa, which led to Jamie Hayter doing a clothesline. 1, 2, 3. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter defeat Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. This was a solid match. Like I said, man, if this is the beginning of them getting this women's division back on track and getting the crowd and the fans into the women's division and the women's wrestlers, good job. Keep it up. Just don't have the women's division in the same time slot where it becomes predictable, where it's just like, well, we know the women are going to be here. Well, it's right before the main event. All right, yeah. Get it over with. We want the main event. You don't want that, because that does a disservice and a disservice to the women's wrestlers that are performing pretty solid matches, but because of the time slot you put him in, it's like it's not connecting with the fans, and it's like, all right, we want the main event. So solid match. I loved it. I love that the women's match was second on the card and out of that slot of right before the main event. So I loved it. You guys, whoever called it, thank you. Then we had a video package of Sammy Guevara and Tay Conte getting married. And they're doing the whole thing. And yes, we're married. And then it cuts to Eddie King. He's like, you know what? We ain't got time for this, man. We're doing, we have wrestling matches. This is a wrestling show. Like, this ain't, get this over. And, man, Eddie Kingston's gold. Like, he is gold. He looks in the camera. Oh, Sammy, Ty. Oh, you're getting married? Yeah, nobody cares. Freaking hilarious. And he talks about how he signed the contract and he sent it to him. He's like, hey, check your mail. I'll see you at the pay-per-view. So, he didn't mention the name of the pay-per-view. But Eddie Kingston alluded to we could be getting Sammy Guevara and Eddie Kingston at All Out in September. That's going to be a pretty fun match for All Out. I like the dynamic. Sammy's more of a cocky, flashy, high flyer. Did he even use high flyer name anymore? Whatever, I'm dating myself. Against a brawling, hard-nosed, like, in your face, I'm going to beat you down, Eddie Kingston. So that should be an interesting match for All Out. Then we get a recap of Hobbs and Starks. How Hobbs turned on Starks. Then we go to Taz. Yes, Taz at ringside. And he's like, look, I did not know Hook was going to challenge Ricky Starks for the FTW title. I didn't know Hobbs and Starks had any issues. And he's like, from now, I want to make an announcement. From this moment forward, Team Taz is dead. So we get an announcement that a faction is dead. I wish we would have had that for a few other factions that should have been non-existent for a while, but all right. But for me, I was like, whoa, I was taken aback, like, oh wow, the ending Team Taz. But it makes sense because all three of those guys are over with the crowd. Hook is over with the crowd. Ricky Starks is over with the crowd. And yes, Powerhouse Hobbs, even though he did heelish tactics, people love him. They're like, this big man can go. He's the man. Like, this is fun to watch. Then we get a Powerhouse Hobbs match with Ron Jones. Basically, he just did a clothesline and just laid on top of the guy. 1, 2, 3. That was the match. He's celebrating. Ricky Starks comes in. Blade Man ran down to the ring, started hitting him. Kind of overzealous because he ran into a spine buster by Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs looks at him, smirks at him, walks away. Then we get a Miro promo. Miro, basically in his promo, he's like, everyone will reveal themselves eventually. Again, adds to the question, is he joining the House of Black or is he an adversary of the House of Black? Big question, but man, if we get Malachi Black and Miro at All Out, ooh, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be a good match. So yeah, we had that. Then we get a video package from Darby Allin, and he's directing his comments towards Brody King, and for some reason it looked like he was tattooing Coffin Match next week on his hand. It was like, what the hell? He basically said, you need me for everything. Next week, Coffin Match. So yes, next week we're getting the Coffin Match, Brody King, Darby Allin. That should be a very intense, crazy, wild match. Those two guys have a unique chemistry. It actually reminds me in a way, not exactly, not 100%, but it reminds me of the rivalry that Kane and Daniel Bryan had back in 2013, 2012? Yeah, 2012 when they had that. Kind of reminds me of that. Of course, it doesn't look like Darby Allin and... Ooh. That might happen. It doesn't look like Darby Allin and Brody King are going to join forces. What came to my head, the reason why I said ooh, was, are we going to get a Darby Allin heel turn? Something to think about. Are we going to get a Darby Allin heel turn and he joins the House of Black? Very interesting. Not saying it's going to happen, but that would be very interesting. Then we get to the second hour. Jim Ross comes out. I don't know why they didn't do this last week, because Jim Ross called all 2 hours. Maybe just to see if he could do it. I actually like this, where Jim Ross comes out. Like I said before in other Dynamite reviews, this is something that they used to do in WCW when they would transition from Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko to Eric Bischoff and Bobby Heenan. Then, of course, later on, it was Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko, and then Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan. Of course, WWE did that with Michael Cole and Jerry the King Lawler, and that whole dynamic. I liked it. Pretty cool. Then we get to the Matt Hardy Christian Cage match. I mean, it was an okay match. For me, I think I've seen them wrestle every time that they've wrestled, going back to when they were the Brood and the Hardys in '99. It was an okay match. The biggest thing about this was the end. And of course, in the end, Christian did the unprettier pin Matt Hardy, 1, 2, 3. He leaves out the ring, grabs 2 chairs, puts the chair down. Music hits, Luchasaurus. Music hits. Then you get Christian just like, what? And, man, I'm going to be saying this a lot. It's the little things. What I liked about AEW in this segment is that they got a tight shot of Christian Cage, and you didn't see Jungle Boy come in and try to attack Christian until Christian turned around, and then you saw him. I like that, because before they would get a wide shot and it's like, okay, how does Christian not see this or anything? It's the little things. Man, thank goodness wrestling is going back to improving the little things. Yes, the little things make the big things look even better. No pun intended. So yeah, Christian runs from Jungle Boy and Jungle Boy's t-shirt. Christian is a you know what it is. Just watch Dynamite. I'm not going to repeat it. I don't want to get copyright strike, but yeah, that's what he called him. Or that's what he had on his shirt. Then we had Daniel Garcia. He had a backstage promo. He's basically saying, I made Bryan Danielson tap. Hey, whenever you come back from your head injury, I'll do it again. Then we get a recap of Pac defending the All-Atlantic title on AEW Dark, which I love this. I love that they're doing this. One thing I wish AEW would do, and if they could do it, man, it would be so dope if they could get matches of their contracted wrestlers wrestling in other places. If they can put a compilation of that on AEW Dark, like, hey, you may not see this, but this is where these guys wrestle. Like, man, that would be so cool if they did that. Who knows? They might do it next year, what have you. But, man, that would be so cool with seeing Pac defend his title and other promotions, and seeing Moxley and all these other guys. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla? Yeah, PWG with Brody and Malachi wrestling over there. Like, man, that would be so cool if they showed that. I would like it. I don't know if many other fans would like it, but that would be pretty cool, because it would just add something like, man, I need to watch this. Like, this is something different. Then you had a promo from Ethan Page. I like this. I like the fact, I'm going to start with this. I like the fact that they are going away from Dan Lambert, and they are putting Ethan Page with Stokely Hathaway. What do I mean by that? So Ethan Page comes out grabs the microphone. He starts talking, and Stokely Hathaway just walks like he's storming to the ring. And he's just waiting for Ethan Page to finish talking. He's in the ring. He's talking. So Ethan Page, he starts off with why. Ethan Page deserves better. You guys don't buy my t-shirts, but, you want to cheer for Eddie Kingston and OC. Then you had Stokely Hathaway. He looks at Ethan Page, and he whispers something in his ear. He gives him the card, and then he walks away. And Ethan Page looks at the card. He looks around. He goes to ringside, and as he's leaving the ring, Stokely Hathaway is just standing in the entrance ramp, looking back at the entranceway. Ethan Page comes right next to him. He looks at him, and you can see him utter the words, "Let's do this." And they walk off together. So Stokely Hathaway and Ethan Page are together. We know that Stokely Hathaway recruited, was it Lee Moriarty? I'm trying to think of who else he's put together. But man, I want to see where this goes and what this leads to and what he's building, because man, Stokely Hathaway having a faction, man, this is going to be really, really fun. We know the work that he can do. He's a good talker. He's very funny, entertaining. Ethan Page is a great, entertaining wrestler. He can talk on the mic. I'm interested in this. This is a little thing that's like, okay, where's this going? This is some good stuff. Then we go to backstage segment with 2.0 and Anna Jay. Basically, Anna Jay is like, I'll choke you out. And she winds up choking a security guard, and they just cut. So just adding to her, I'm going to choke you out. Then we go to the dumpster match between the Gun Club and the Acclaimed. So the Gun Club come out, and they're walking to the ring. Billy Gunn is right behind them. The Acclaimed beat up Billy Gunn. To the point where he's just like, he runs to the back. Freaking Max Caster grabs the mic. He's like, yo, hit my music. He freaking they start the song after they beat up Billy Gunn. He does the rap, the line of the night. He's like, I'll make you retire. I'll make you retire quicker than Vince McMahon. Damn. And I know many of you, why do they keep mentioning WWE? Like, they just think of WWE all the time. No, you think of WWE all the time, and they know it. So they're just playing into it. I had no issue with it because WWE on Raw, they were throwing subtle jabs at Vince, and we seen it on Monday with Roman Reigns, and when he looked at Theory, he's like, yeah, Daddy's not here to save you. We know who that was talking about. Michael Cole, he's like, hey, I've been getting screamed at for 25 years. So it just seems like everybody's taking a shot at Vince McMahon, which, hey, let's face it. I'm not saying he deserves it, but hey, you kind of brought it on yourself. That's all I got to say. He kind of brought it on himself. It's funny, but yeah, Vince McMahon's been getting shots from both AEW and WWE. WWE in subtle ways, AEW just like that. Then you get ass boy chants. Then during the match, you had two attempts where the Gun Club tried to close the lid on the dumpster. Max Caster both times he finished it off. He hit Austin Gunn with the sheet. After that, they head up the ramp, and you have Billy Gunn on the top stage setup, and he was running from, I think, Anthony Bowens. So Max Caster's behind him. They throw Austin Gunn into the dumpster. They put Colton there. Colton's on a table. Max Caster does the elbow drop on the table. Then he throws Colton Gunn in the ring, or in the dumpster. They win. They're celebrating, but they tie up the dumpster, and they do a freaking callback to when the New Age Outlaws threw Cactus Jack and Terry Funk off the stage back in 1998. I remember that. I think I was at a church group or something. It was a youth group I was watching, and we were like, whoa, that was crazy. That was a decent wink callback to that. The Acclaimed win. They're celebrating. The crowd's over. They're over, which that's cool. From there, we get a rundown of Rampage, next week's Dynamite. So Rampage, they announced, and kudos. They brought back footage of Ric Flair's last match, and Mance Warner won the Bunkhouse Brawl. Yes, Mance Warner from GCW. He is facing Jon Moxley this Friday on Rampage. We're going to have the debut of Madison Rayne, I think, this week. Yeah, I think it's this week. Then we're going to have Swerve in Our Glory versus Tony Nese and Josh Woods. Pretty solid AEW Rampage. Then next week's Dynamite, we're going to get the Lucha Bros versus Andrade El Idolo and Rush. Whew! That's going to be a nice match. And I guarantee you that match is probably going to open tonight. Then we're going to have Jade Cargill's Open Challenge. I'm very interested to see who answers that challenge. We'll see. I mean, of course we could say, oh, it's going to be this free agent or that free agent. We'll see. We shall see. Is it going to be Taya Valkyrie? Is it going to be Deonna Purrazzo? Is it going to be Mickie James? Those are just names that come to my mind that might do it. Is it going to be Camille from NWA? Which would be insane if that happened. But I'm interested to see who's going to answer that challenge at Quake of the Lake next week in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Then we get a video package of Takeshita versus Claudio this Friday or this Saturday at Battle of the Belts. Then we get to the main event, Wheeler Yuta versus Chris Jericho. 2.0 is down at ringside. Music hits. Claudio Castagnoli comes down to even odds. Then during beginning part of the match, Aubrey throws out 2.0. They go to commercial, and after commercial, I guess Claudio left or something. He was there at ringside, then he left. As they left, the crowd was chanting, na 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 na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye to 2.0. There's a cool spot where Yuta and Jericho did a double cross body spot, which, man, I haven't seen that since the WCW Cruiserweights. That was a callback to the WCW Cruiserweight division. I believe Malenko and Jericho used to do that spot a lot. I always thought that was a really cool spot because it was the way they did it back then was they didn't it wasn't planned or anything. It was oh man, they made a mistake. But they did it very effectively. But no, that was a really cool spot. Then you had the Tope Suicide Dive that Wheeler Yuta does. He did it 3 times. Then there was a point in the match where Yuta was jumping off the top rope and Jericho got him in the code breaker. It was great timing. Great timing by Jericho to hit that. Man, that looked so nasty. Then there was a point where Wheeler Yuta was trying to get him in the his finishing move. Jericho actually countered it, put him in the walls of Jericho. Yuta tap. Jericho is going to face Moxley next week on AEW Dynamite. After the match, Jericho did not release the hold until Jon Moxley came down, ran him off. That was the show. And then you had Jericho before the show finished. Forgive me, guys. He's like, you're going to get the Lionheart, and I'm going to stretch the shit out of you. He says that to Jon Moxley. That is the show. That is AEW Dynamite this week. Man, I liked it. There's very little here to really man, this is so stupid. Man, I've been saying about the women's division, why do they have to be in the match right before the main event? This was a pretty altogether, really solid show. This was fun. It keeps you intrigued on what's going to happen next. It added little layers to storylines that's already happening. For me, I love the fact that the women's division was out of that spot of the match before the main event. The crowd was into this match between Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Jamie Hayter, and Toni Storm. They were into it. You saw the chants. You saw the enthusiasm. You heard the "This is awesome" chants. That is proof that whoever made that call, you made the right decision. Keep listening to the fans. Like, do not have the women's division be so predictable, because everything else in AEW is unpredictable. Make the women's division very compatible to that unpredictability that we see in the men's division. And man, you got something really, really special and really intriguing. And you're going to have a lot of women wrestlers from around the country want to go to AEW. We'll see what happens from there. But that was the main thing tonight. I really liked that. Man, this was just a fun show. I had fun watching AEW Dynamites. So again, that is my review for AEW Dynamite, August 3rd, 2022. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification so that way you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops new content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that,